大家好，我是凯文。这几天呢，桑乔的转会传闻是传得沸沸扬扬啊。那么今天我是要跟一位曼联球迷连线，跟他聊一聊曼联在欧联杯里对阵哥本哈根的比赛的表现，还有就是桑乔的转会。
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
What a boring game.
It wasn't the best Manchester United performance. It definitely wasn't.
Man United had 26 shots and Copenhagen had 9. Man United needed a penalty to win that game. Is there a lack of quality in front of goal, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think it was the keeper. I think the keeper just had a very good game. I think you saw prime De Gea. If we played that way against, say, Chelsea with Kepa in goal, I think we probably would have won that 3 or 4-0.
Looking at the remaining fixtures of the Europa League, how do you predict it's going to go?
I think if we play against Wolves, I think we'll have a lot more possession than we did against Copenhagen. It also depends on how Ollie starts. I think if he reverts back to playing Lindelof and Romero and De Gea in goal, then we might lose. I would love to see a Manchester United Inter final. I think we've got 3 of our ex-players there, Sanchez, Ashley Young and Lukaku, who obviously want to make a point against Manchester United. It'll be a good competition, and fingers crossed Ollie would win it and get our first trophy.
It'll be interesting if Alexis Sanchez turned up and score a hat-trick against Man United.
Of course.
I guess there's a name that everyone's talking about at the moment is Jadon Sancho. The message came from Dortmund that he will remain a Dortmund player next season. How did that make you feel?
Not as confident. I don't think it's completely over because I think the Dortmund stance is basically the same. And the statement is essentially like, pay us the money. So if obviously Manchester United in a month or 2 months say, fine, we'll pay the money, he's obviously going to be a Manchester United player. But I would suspect that probably maybe in September, towards the end of September, that they might have reached an agreement whereby Manchester United pay a substantial amount up front.
And based on yesterday's message and today, the words are that Sancho is willing to push for a transfer by submitting a transfer request and giving up his bit of the transfer fee. If it's true, do you see Sancho wanting to be a Man United player that much?
Now, I sort of said before I know that I didn't get the impression that Jadon Sancho was that type of player and he would just sort of continue doing what he was doing. But obviously reports are saying that he was quite homesick, he wants to come back home, his friends, etc. So if reports are true that he is wants to make a transfer request, then that obviously puts a lot of pressure on Dortmund now. They still don't have to sell him, and at the end they've extended his contract to 2023. So Dortmund are still in a very strong position. Certainly think that would help for Manchester United and possibly make the agreed fee a bit more reasonable.
I mean, if the Sancho deal doesn't happen, Man United still need to have backups. Is there anyone in your mind?
If we sign Sancho for 120 million, there's a very strong possibility that Manchester are not going to sign anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think that is potentially wrong. I'd rather us use that potential 120 million to make multiple signings and strengthen other areas. Examples could be, so as a centre-back, obviously the Gabriel sort of guy, but there are others. CDM, Idrissa Gueye for PSG, be 20 million, or Partey's or Didi's. Right winger, there's Wilfred Zaha's in the Crystal Palace is a decent fit. Obviously, Adama Traore.
In your opinion, who are the must-go players?
Phil Jones, 100% needs to be sold. Someone said, something is like, it's like a cockroach in a nuclear war. Just survives anything. He gets injured precisely around the transfer window time. You're like, this guy, man. This guy is so. Jesse Lingard at least contributes more from a on the pitch, social and team point of view than Pereira does. So I think that Pereira probably is one that was to go.
You mentioned Jesse Lingard. He's had his personal problems for the last 2 seasons. Do you think he's worth another chance? Or do you think, with his age, he's not a young player anymore?
If, for example, we don't get Jadon Sancho, let's say United don't sign anybody, then we're in the similar problem that we had last season where what happens if a certain player gets injured? So right now, like say the front three is Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. But what happens if Greenwood gets injured?
Yeah.
Then you're like, well, who comes in? Okay, well, we have Daniel James and we have Jesse Lingard. If we were to sign Sancho and possibly another midfielder, I'd say probably Lingard's not really going to be getting into this team anytime soon.
That's all the questions, mate.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.